Hey everyone, welcome to this full moon Sidereal astrology forecast for the full moon on Friday, March 18th, 2022. All right, so we have a full moon in Sidereal Virgo, the maiden, and so it is the time of now doing a status check with the improvement-oriented side of ourselves. Virgo is all about doing the work, both for ourselves and our environment. It's all about what we can fix and improve and refine upon, and now it's a nice step in the right direction with this to further develop this energy for the remainder of the lunar cycle for the next 2 weeks, but also, of course, for the next 6 months, and doing a status check. How has the past 2 weeks been going? Maybe with the sun recently entering Pisces, it's been important to do things that are more receptive and maybe a little more inward, more about soul fulfillment and maybe peace in our life. But of course, we do need to always balance that out with healthy work and healthy doing. So with the full moon, how is this balance between being and doing? Rest and work, spiritual and mental health versus physical health, and how we can really integrate these two moving forward. So with this full moon, we do have an opposition up to Jupiter and Neptune, who are about to conjoin next month. And so it is this nice step in the right direction, I feel like, with, again, greater receptivity, but doing things more important to us on a soul level. I think this March-April time is very much about a new beginning for all of us to some degree regarding more soul fulfillment in whatever it is that we're pursuing in life. And there's a trine to Pluto as well, so quite empowering with this full moon also. All right, so let's go and take a look at all of this here in more detail when we return. Alrighty, so here's the chart for the full moon. So the full moon will be early March 18th, so early Friday for most of us. Well, early Friday for those in the West, particularly the Americas. So the time will be about 0300, depending on the exact location, but about 0330 in the Eastern time of the Americas. And so either late, Thursday or early Friday for most of us in the world. And as you can see here, we are using the actual size of the constellations. And so if you do notice some of the signs are different in this system, definitely check out the link down below for more information. The full moon will be in Virgo in both the Western, the mainstream, and this true sidereal system, but maybe you might notice some of the other signs are different. So if you are near this channel, definitely check out the link down below for more information. All right, so full moon, we are in the heightened energy of the lunar cycle, of the lunar month. And so it is always good to see that it is a harvest time. First of all, do see what has harvested from the previous 2 weeks and even from the past 6 months. And in this context, now how can we make some shifts and changes to further develop our life path, right? To further develop balance and fulfillment in whatever it is that we are focused on. So recently, sidereally, the sun has entered Pisces this past roughly week. And so it has been about viewing life through a more soul-guided lens and doing things more soul-fulfilling for us. And this has been, of course, emphasized with the sun over Neptune, and now Jupiter getting close to Neptune as well. Neptune is the planet that rules Pisces. So there is that watery energy, and as is always the case, it's important to balance things out. The astrology shows us what is that balance point. And so the balance point with soul fulfillment with Pisces, and with peace with Pisces, which is what we ultimately are developing, the balance to that is healthy doing. And so now the full moon in Virgo is all about doing a status check with how our improvement-oriented side is or is not, and maybe making some shifts and changes in our life to further develop it. So Virgo the maiden is the side of ourself that does want to strive towards physical perfection. Obviously, this is about focusing on what we do have control over, but of course also letting go of what we don't have control over, and that's balancing it with the Pisces. But nonetheless, focusing on what can be improved. And so a great time to do a status check with how we can do the work, improve upon things, maybe improve upon ourselves. Virgo energy is great for personal development. It's also great for building good habits and routines, right? And our work and service as well. So anything that can be fixed, refined upon, improved, get into the details of, can also be quite analytical, right? Solve problems, fix things, facilitate things, create systems, structures, healthy habits, routines, also develop our skills as well, right? All this grounded stuff that's about development, you know, either development for ourselves or our environment or our work, right? This is what Virgo ultimately, I feel like, is about. So now doing a status check with it, how can we incorporate that? And then, of course, strive towards that balance. This is going to help balance out the more watery, soul-guided energy that we do experience this time of the year with the sun in Pisces. So balancing, again, rest with work, being with doing, mental health and physical health, right? And of course, going with the flow, letting go of what's outside of our control, as we are likely all collectively more willing to do, relatively speaking, again, with now Neptune in Pisces and Jupiter approaching Neptune. So more of this receptivity is definitely there, but of course, balancing that with the healthy doing. All right, so great to do a status check both in the monthly sense, again, how the past 2 weeks have been, but also in the yearly sense, right? We're also talking about a yearly cycle, so the past 6 months as well. And now making some shifts and changes, some pivots, if you will, for the next 2 weeks and the next 6 months in this context, both micro and macro in this context. Okay, so some of the aspects we have to it is, of course, the oppositions. So full moon's always opposite the sun, but it's also opposite up to that Neptune, Jupiter, who are about to conjoin next month in April. So there is this, what is increasing, what has been increasing already this year, is the fact that there is a new beginning taking place collectively with opportunities that can certainly bring in more soul fulfillment in our lives. Whether it's through our work, whether it's through our location, whether it's through family. Of course, you'll want to see where this is happening for you, basically wherever you have the beginning of Pisces in your own chart. And by the way, for those of you who are not yet aware, the birth chart calculator on the website at masteringthezodiac.com is back up. So if you want to check out your chart, if you haven't already, check to see where that beginning of Pisces is, because that is where the this new beginning is happening in our lives collectively for more soul fulfillment. All right, so good to, again, incorporate it from that front. And there is a trine up to Pluto as well. So great to see Pluto in good aspect here and supporting this full moon. Pluto is the very deep planet that is about personal transformation. And so we could be feeling quite empowered with the full moon, or if there is anything that feels like we're reclaiming some power in some way or facing fears, right? This can definitely be a great time for that, and it might just come very naturally and support us in the process. Now, of course, with any full moon energy, we want to look at the dispositor or the ruler of Virgo, and in this case, it's Mercury. So Mercury, the ruler of Virgo, is showing us where a lot of this Virgo energy is manifesting through at the moment. And it's in a very different constellation of Aquarius. So our mind is likely very future-oriented collectively at the moment, and also very much innovative, probably progressive, visionary, thinking outside the box, challenging the status quo, maybe thinking about our own future aspirations, or maybe just thinking about the world and the future in general there. So our minds are very future-oriented, very progressive, very visionary. And so that's a great area, I think, to implement some of that improvement nature, right? Improving, refining the details in the context of our future visions, both personally and collectively. Okay, so that is the full moon in a nutshell. Very straightforward. Status check. How has the past 2 weeks and 6 months been going in the context of improvement, personal development, routines, habits, details, striving towards what we do have control over, and that kind of improvement, while balancing that with receptivity, a willingness to go with the flow, have a bit of peace or rest or more soul fulfillment in our life, which is definitely shaping up into a new beginning in the yearly or decade sense with Jupiter and Neptune conjoining. A trine up to Pluto, which is quite empowering as well with all this, at least supporting these shifts and changes and the status check we could be doing at this time. All right, so everyone have a fantastic full moon. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click the like button if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you're not yet signed up for MTZ Insiders, it is a newsletter where you do get these videos released first before YouTube. So do sign up down below if you haven't yet. But have a great week, everyone. Thank you again, and I'll see you all next time for the next astrology forecast. Take care.